Hello, I am Staff Sergeant Foreman Signals Dave Jarvis, and this video is part of a series of vlogs I'm doing with the aim of improving cycling around the Royal Corps of Signals. Today I want to talk about buying bikes. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience, the considerations I applied before I bought mine, and a few top tips, all with the aim of helping you to ensure you are happy, that bit happier with your any future purchases. So, I've been cycling for a little over 5 years now. In that time, I bought 4 bikes. I bought my first one in December 2014, and I bought it for 2 reasons. One was to save a bit of money commuting. It was about half a dozen kilometres or so to work, and it just saved me a little bit of money on fuel. And the second one was for fizz. I'd been downgraded 6 months earlier. The doctors had made it pretty clear I had to change my lifestyle, and I basically had to find something new. So cycling was it. That was my new healthy outlet. So I took that up for commuting and fizz. The second bike was 10 months later. I bought it because by that point I was spending longer in the saddle. I was enjoying it more. I knew I liked it. Tried and tested, of course. So I thought it was about time that I invested a little bit more and got something that would help me get more out of my cycling. So that's why I got the second one. I kept that one for about 3 years. By the end of that point, I got into racing. I was getting some half decent results. I'd got some reasonably good places. I'd won a couple of races, and I decided it was about that point that I wanted to get more out of my racing. So that was when. So in August 2018 is when I bought my orange bike, the one you might have seen photographs of from last year during the charity events. I bought that and it did exactly what I wanted it from it. It helped me get that bit better. I put more and more time into the bike, more and more time out cycling, and ultimately that's what led to me getting my last bike, the blue one. Again, you might have seen me doing charity stuff last year. I bought that because I was spending so much time on the bikes. I wanted a bit of separation between bike I used for my events, for racing, that sort of stuff, and a bike that I'd spend more of my time on, where I could be more comfortable, that was more functional, a bit more capability to it. The bike I was going to spend most of my time on, and that did it for me. So I've now got 2 bikes, my orange one and the blue one. I'm not going to go into the details about it. I don't want to bore anyone with it, but if you are interested, then ask in the comments, and I'm more than happy to pass the details on. But the considerations I applied before I bought those bikes, first and foremost, I identified why I wanted the bike, what I wanted out of it. Hopefully I explained that in the story, but make sure you understand why you're getting it, okay? There's no point spending lots of money on a bike if you're only going to use it a couple of times a week. For example, if you just want to spend time with your kids on a weekend, do you need to spend hundreds of pounds on something for that purpose? If you're commuting to and from work and it's only taking 5 or 10 minutes each way, do you need to spend a lot? Probably not. But if it's a longer commute, maybe you want to consider spending a bit more on an e-bike, but it's personal choice. The next one is how often are you going to be out on your bike? And then also into that is how long as well. If you're spending longer in the saddle, you're going to want something with a little bit more comfort to it. But at the same time, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you're commuting only 5 or 10 minutes each way, you maybe just want to get a reasonably cheap bike. And the last one, which leads me nicely onto the last one, key point here, budget. Have a budget in mind, okay? Particularly when you're starting out. Set yourself a budget and try your level best to stick to it. Cycling can very quickly turn into a bit of a money pit. There are so many toys and gizmos, and even all up to the bikes as well themselves, that you can spend lots of money on. It's very slippery slope. I've bought some silly things in the past, which, I don't know if anyone remembers me cycling around Blandford with those light-up spinner things on the inside of my back wheel. Yeah, it was a bit of fun for a couple of rides, and then it just became a pain in the ass. So, set yourself a budget, stick to it. Top tip for the beginners here, if you're buying your first bike, don't forget to factor into that budget, don't forget to factor in things like your helmet, your bottles, the cages, spares kit, all that sort of stuff. If you're buying a second bike, you've probably already got it already, but if you're a beginner, don't forget to factor those things in as well, because you'll need them to get started, So why you're buying it, what you want out of it, how often you're going to be doing it, how long you're going to be spending in the saddle at any one time, and budget. Key one, budget. And let's not forget, it's got to look good as well. All right, that's always a winner. Yeah. So, top tips then. First one. Now, the serious one. You've got to be confident in the kit. All right. Long story short here, if you're going downhill, it's very easy to generate speed, regardless of how good you are on the bike, how experienced you are. It's easy to generate speed. If you've bought a bike that's not safe, something wrong with the frame, the wheels, the brakes, something like that, and you're going downhill at speed, it's going to sting, bottom line. So you've got to be confident in what you're buying, okay? There's a range of ways of doing that. You can buy from a reputable seller, whether it's a known store, a nationwide store, or a local shop that's got a good reputation. From an individual, you know, within the Raw Signals, you can put a request out on the group to see if anyone's selling bikes, or if anyone's heard of a certain person or something like that, you know. And you'll be able to get people better tell you yes, no, you know, this is a brand you could try, this is the model you could try, this is the certain components you can think of, you know, there's the options there. You're asking the group, you know. Another option you could do is, if you've got friends who know what they're talking about, ask them to come along with you. If you're buying second hand from someone you don't know, ask a mate who knows what they're talking about to come with you to do the basic safety checks and stuff. Another option to consider is ask if they'll do a service for you, if they'll go and take it to a shop and get it properly serviced. That receipt to say that bike's been done is that little bit of reassurance that you're getting a safe product, not just for the seller, not just for the buyer, but also for the seller. So I sold my first 2 bikes. If I'd found out that a couple of days later or so, that the brakes had failed or something, you know, I wouldn't be able to live with myself with that person that got hurt because I'd sold them an unsafe product, you know. So options to consider there. There's all the how-to videos on how to do safety checks as well. But key line is, make sure you're confident in what you're buying. Make sure you can trust where you're getting it from. Yeah. And the next one as well is look at sort of lighter note. Look at the facts as well. Don't pay too much attention to the myths. By that I mean things like the weight of the bike. Okay, if you're just starting out, do not even consider the weight of the bike. Okay, there's been various studies into this, specifically in terms of road cycling. That is, that the weight of the bike only really makes a difference once you go over up to a certain gradient. The real weight you want to be thinking about is that one in there, I'm afraid. So be prepared to lose a little bit of body weight instead of trying to get a really flash frame, carbon fibered up to the yin yang. You don't need it. Okay. Once you get better at it, then maybe consider getting better stuff. But if you're starting out, just, you know, don't worry too much about things like that. But look at the facts. There's plenty of other ones out there, other ideas of myths and things. Stick to the facts. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try and open it up to the rest of my cycling buddies and that. If you've got any other suggestions, any key points, any top tips for people just starting out, or if you're looking at upgrading, add it in the comments, okay? If you want details on some of the things I've used, if you've seen pictures of my bikes, ask. I'm more than happy to share the details. I just don't want to bore the hell out of you in this video. And plus, I want to keep it under 10 minutes as well. So, yeah, as always, ask the questions. I'm happy to help as best I can. Bottom line is I want to get more people into this. So ask, okay? Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to the next one.